Dear students, welcome to the English second paper class brought to you by Amar Ghore Amar School. You know that the whole world has been infected with the deadly virus corona. In this situation, the government has taken decision to close down all your schools. But Amar Ghore Amar School has brought your classroom to your home through Sangsad Bangladesh Television. So let's start today's class. The topic that we are going to learn today is past simple and past continuous tense. You may find this lesson in your book at Unit 2, Lesson 6 and 7. Now before we start, let's have a look at this conversation. As you can see, there are two people who are talking with each other, and in the picture that there is a bandage around the shoulder of one boy and he looks quite sick. So she's talking to a girl. Let's see what they're talking about. What is wrong with your hand? I broke my hand yesterday. How did it happen? Well, I fell down. Oh really? What were you doing at that time? I was climbing up a tree. So you were climbing a tree and you fell down and broke your hand. That's so sad. As you can see the conversation, there has been used past indefinite tense and past continuous tense. So I'm sure you have already understood that the topic that we are going to learn today is past simple and past continuous. Now what will be the learning outcome of today's class? After today's class, you'll be able to understand the uses of past simple and past continuous tense. You'll be able to write sentences correctly using the correct structure of past simple and past continuous, and you'll be able to ask and answer questions using past simple and past continuous tense. At first, let's have a look of what past simple is all about. The tense that describes a past situation or action is simple past tense. So the event, the tense that I'm going to talk about is past simple and will refer to something that happened in the past. For example, Buddha was born in the year 563 BC at a place called Lumbini. When he was born, several miracles occurred. His parents gave him the name Siddhartha. They expected him to grow and become a successful king. In all these examples, what we can see that the events that have been referred to here happened in the past. For this reason, we have used past simple tense in here. Now, as you can see in the structure, there is a cross given here and that happened before now. This cross is referring to an event or an action that happened before now. That means it is in the past. In all these cases, what we can use simple past tense. So let's read the following text and notice the underlined verbs. I was a student then. I had quite a few good friends. They were all very close to me. We did a lot of things together. We went to school regularly. We discussed our problems between classes. We played together in the afternoon. It was a happy time. Now all the verbs that have been used here are using the past form of the verb, either the to be verb or the regular verbs. In the text, was and were are used to refer to a past state. Had indicates a past possession or relation, and did, went, discussed, and played describe past actions. The sentences are all in the past simple tense. This is how states and actions are expressed in the past simple tense. Now let's look at the structure of past simple tense in affirmative, negative and interrogative sentence. As you can see, here we have shown the positive form, negative form and question form using simple past tense. In the first one, the positive form, we have seen that in case of to be verb, we have used the subject at first and then we have used the to be verb, that means was or were depending on the subject, and then the rest of the sentence or the extension. There are some examples given here. He was ill, she was happy, it was cold, you were late, we were angry, they were at home. In all these cases, what we have done? We have used was with I, he, it and she. In all other cases, we have used were as the to be verb. When we make it negative form, we are going to use not after the to be verb was or were. For example, the same sentence, he was ill, it has been made into negative by writing he was not ill or he wasn't ill. She wasn't happy, it was not cold, you were not late, we were not angry, they were not at home. In all these cases, the short form or the contraction form have been given in the bracket. If you want to use the short form, you can, but do not forget to use the apostrophe. In case of questioning, we have used the to be verb was or were at the beginning, then we have used the subject, then we have used the object or the rest part of the sentence, and at the end we have used the question mark. For example, was he ill? Was she happy? Was it cold? Were you late? Were we angry? And were they at home? If you do not use the question mark, the whole sentence is going to be meaningless if it is in interrogative form. So do not forget to use the question mark. Now this is a structure that we are going to follow when we have action verb in simple past tense. In the positive form, we have used the subject and then V2. So what does V2 refer to here? V2 refers to the past form of the verb. For example, I started, I bought a car. So we know that bought is the past form of the main verb buy. Why we have used bought here? Because it is referring to an action that happened before now. Now if you want to make it negative, we can just use did not, and then we are going to use the present form of the verb. For example, I did not buy a car. As you can see, as we have used did not here, we are not using the past form bought. Did itself is in past. For that reason, we have used buy here. I did not buy a car. Now, if you want to ask a question using the simple past tense, what you can do? You're going to use did at the beginning of the sentence, and then you're going to use the subject and then the present form of the verb or V1. For example, did you buy a car? Did she start? So the same sentence has been shown in 3 different structures using affirmative, negative and interrogative. I'm repeating it once again. If you want to make it in affirmative, use the subject and the V2 form. If you want to make it negative, use the subject, did not and V1 form. If you want to make it interrogative, use did, then the subject and the V1 form. Now it's time for past continuous tense. Before we start, let's have a look at this conversation. Read what the students were doing at 7 o'clock in the morning. What tense are they using in their reply? They are talking about what was happening in the past. So it's very clear that there is a teacher here who is asking a question. So the question is, what were you doing at 7 o'clock this morning? In reply, there are different students who are giving different answers. The first student said, I was having breakfast. The next one said, I was sleeping. The third one said, I was getting dressed. And the fourth one said, I was watching TV. Now all these events happened at 7 o'clock and they were doing these works or these actions right at that moment. So past continuous tense refers to a continuing action or state that was happening at some point in the past. For example, at 6 o'clock I was eating dinner. The boys were playing in the field. Now the two events, playing and eating dinner, both of them happened in the past, but they were continuing right at the moment of speaking. It can also be used to describe something that was happening continuously in the past when another action interrupted it. So if there's two actions that both happened in the past and in between another action interrupted, then we can use past continuous tense. For example, the audience was applauding until he fell off the stage. I was making dinner when she arrived. So when she arrived, I was making dinner. So her arrival interrupted my action of making dinner or cooking. So if there's two actions happened in the past and one was interrupted in between by other, then we can use past continuous tense. Now the structure of past continuous tense. In these three columns, we can see that affirmative, negative and interrogative structures have been shown. In the first one, I was playing, we have used the subject I at first. Then we have used verb was and then we have added ing with the verb play. The second example, you were playing. Here, why we have used were? Because we know that we always takes were as the verb or are as the verb. It always takes plural verb. The third one, he was playing, she was playing, it was playing, we were playing, you were playing and they were playing. In all these cases, what we can see in common? In case of I, he, she and it, we have used was. In all other cases, we have used were. And yes, since it is in continuous form, do not forget to use verb plus ing. When we make it into negative, we are going to use not after was or were. For example, I wasn't playing, you weren't playing, he wasn't playing. You can also write he was not playing if you want to make it in full form. She wasn't playing, it wasn't playing. If you want to pose a question or ask a question, you just have to put was or were at the beginning of the sentence. For example, were they playing? Were you playing? Was he playing? So the same sentence can be used in different ways using the same structure. Just you have to use the be verb at the right position. Now let's see at a glance what we have learned in today's class. In today's class we have learned that simple past tense is used to talk about a completed action in a time before now. And the past continuous tense refers to a continuing action or state that was happening at some point in the past. Dear students, now it's time for homework. This homework can be found in your book at page number 37. Let's have a look what we have here. Complete the following sentences in the past simple tense. Use the right form of verbs given in brackets. So there are several sentences given here and in the bracket there are some verbs given and they are all in present form. What you have to do? You have to use the past form of this verb in the blank. It rained all day yesterday. Did you enjoy the party? His father died 10 years ago. Why be you angry? Here we have be, that means you have to use the to be verb. I did not have such any idea. He teach me how to swim. How long did you stay there? We have a question mark at the end, that means you have to ask a question here. My mother be a teacher. How dash the weather yesterday? Be verb again. Last week I catch cold. So you know the structures of using past simple tense in case of to be verb and in case of action verb. You just have to focus on the sentence and you have to use the appropriate form of the verb given in the bracket. There is another exercise that I have for you as homework. It can be found at page number 38. Complete the following sentences using the past continuous tense. So there are several sentences, 5 sentences given here. Also, there have been used some verb in the bracket. We have to use them in past continuous tense in the blank. For example, at 8 o'clock mother dash dinner. So we know that when we use past continuous tense, we have to use the subject, then we have to use was or were, and then verb plus ing. I dash then a bath, take, the verb is given. Genia dash ready to go out, the verb that had been used here is get. You make a phone call, what dash they dash then do. So the last sentence that have been used here, it has question mark at the end. That means you have to follow the structure of interrogative sentence. Dear students, do the homework. Submit it to your teacher when the school reopens. The evaluation given by your teacher will be added to your continuous assessment. With this, we have